All right, so let's talk about a vector. What is a vector, or what do you think a vector is? Well, you shouldn't really know, or you shouldn't really keep the definition of a vector, you understand, but you must know two things. A vector gives two pieces of information, right? It gives direction and length. So a vector will give you direction and then it will give you length. But this length, some people call it magnitude. So basically a vector gives direction and what? Length, or you can say direction and what? Magnitude. Now one thing you must know is that length is very physical. Length is physical or visual. So length is physical or visual. What do I mean by this? I mean that, let's say we have this. So this is my y, this is my x. Alright, and then I do this. Here we can measure the length, isn't it? From here, the origin to this side, isn't it? So here length is what? Physical. If you walk from one end of your room to another, it's physical because you can tell me what the length is, isn't it? Alright, so we can see it. Now this is showing us a particular direction, isn't it? And then of course we have our length. Now look at this one too. This is also a vector. Why? Even though it is not starting from the origin, it is still a vector because it still shows length and the direction. So that is one thing you must know, right? That is one thing you must know. So keep in mind that vectors are not always starting from the origin or whatever. Okay, now let's move on. Let me draw another graph here. Of course this will be my y and then this will be my x. So let me draw another vector. Let's say we have dimensions, or we have points 1, we have 2, and we have 3, isn't it? The same way we have 1, we have 2, and we have what? 3, isn't it? Alright, and I draw a vector here like this. Alright, sorry. I draw a vector here like this. And then I ask you, how can you represent this vector? Now, for me, I'm going to represent this vector by this vein, isn't it? And so let's look at something. Here, this is 3, isn't it? And then from this side, this is 2. And so I can say then my vector v is what? 3, 2. Or I can say 3 and what? Comma 2. Do you understand? Now this 3 is the x component, and then this y is what? Sorry, this 2 is what? The y component. So I hope you are getting the picture. So no matter how you draw it, whether vertical or horizontal, we still have our x component and our y component. Now let's move on. Let's draw this vector 2. So if I say vector u is equal to -2 and then 3. If this vector is -2 and what? 3, what do you think we are going to, or how are we going to draw it? So if you can draw it, please pause this video and then try and draw it. Here they are saying -2 for the x component and +3 for the y component. So we are going towards the second quadrant, right? So of course we have our origin here. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to say that then this is my 3, and then basically this is my -2. So this is the graph. Alright, this is the graph. Now let's move on to finding the length of vectors. Let's find the length of vectors. Alright, so like I said, we are going to talk about length of vectors. Now let's say we have this question and they said find the length of vector v, which is equal to 3, 1. Of course, you know this is the x component, and then this is what? The y component. So this is how you are going to do it. First of all, you are going to draw whatever you think you have. Of course, this is our y, and then this is our x. So look at something. Let's say we have 1, we have 2, and we have 3. The same way we have 1, we have 2, and we have 3. And they are saying that this is 3, 1, 3, 1. What do you think we are going to do? Then basically this is what our vector is going to look like. Alright, sorry, from the origin. So let me put my dotted lines here, and then we know what we are doing. So basically we are saying that the height, or from here to here, is 1, isn't it? And then from the origin to this place is also 3. So what do you think we are getting now? We are getting a right angle triangle. Please, are you following? It means that our length, so here I'm going to represent it by what? A double absolute value. Our length here is the same as what? Our hypotenuse. Do you understand? And from Pythagoras theorem, we are going to say that then our length, squared of our length, will be equal to what? 3 squared plus 1 squared. Of course, this is going to be 4, this is 1. So then our vector will be equal to the square root of what? Sorry, this is going to be 9. Sorry, 9. Sorry. Alright, so then we have what? The square root of what? 10, isn't it? As our length. So whatever it is, you can add units to it. It means that if the whole thing is in centimeters, then of course centimeters. If it is in meters, of course meters. But then if they don't give you anything at all, then you say it is what? Units. I hope you understand. So let's try another example. Let's say we have this vector. So vector u is equal to, we have -2 and we have what? 7. So let's do that one too. Like I said, we are going to draw our graph. So we have the y, sorry, and then we have the x, isn't it? Now look at where this is. The x component is negative, right? And the y component is positive. So we are coming towards the second quadrant. So this is what we are going to do. Let's say that we have 7 here, and then we have -2 here. So basically this is what our vector should be like, isn't it? Now let me bring our dotted lines here. So where is our right angle? Here, isn't it? This is our 90. So basically we are still finding what? This place, because we know this is -2 and the height is what? 7. This height is what? 7. So in solving it, let's introduce our double absolute value for the u. Sorry, my camera is a bit shaky, but let's maintain it. So of course we have -2 squared plus 7 what squared, isn't it? So this is equal to 4, because negative times negative will give you what? Positive number, and this is what? 49. From your multiplication table, 7 is what? 49. Now when you add 4 to 49, what do you think we are going to get? We are going to get 53. But here, since we want u to stand alone, we are going to square both sides, isn't it? So let me bring whatever is here. So your answer is going to be something what? Unit, right? I'm sorry, I don't have my calculator with me, so whatever answer you get, let's say you get 2 point something units, of course. If you get 8 point something units, of course, 7 point something units. All right, so basically this is it. Our next video we are going to talk about addition and multiplication of vectors. I hope you understood.